I'd like to call to order the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustee meeting for August 12th at 6:04. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Jan Gaffney.
Here.
Michelle Ginn. Dan Green.
Here.
Mary Hamburg. Absent. Allison McFadden-Kiesling.
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Here.
Ann Rose.
Here.
Julie Meredith here. Okay.
I'll accept a motion for approval of the agenda. So moved. Second. I think she...
I think Ann.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll get it. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any comments or questions? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Call to the public.
Yes. The Friends board members are currently doing a test of the Logistics Volunteer Management System. And at the September board meeting, we'll be making a decision whether or not to purchase the system. But those of us who have tested it so far really like it. The Friends are hoping to attract new participants to the Friends group, especially the board members, because as of 2020, we desperately need new members. We're looking for a treasurer, a library advisory liaison position, and book sales committee chairman. All three.
Oh, tough jobs, all of them.
Big
Yes. And then just want to remind anybody, if you have any handbags, wallets, or coin purses, we're still collecting those for the holiday boutique sale in December.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions? All right. In that case, we will close the call to the public at 6:06. I'll now accept a motion to approve the consent agenda. We have 4 items.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the consent agenda. Anybody want to remove any item or question any item? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Library statistics.
So the statistics are in your packet, but I actually got 2 notes from staff that they wanted me to tell you about, so I'm going to focus on those. The first one is from Adrienne Palumbo, who's our volunteer coordinator. She says for the volunteer statistics for July, volunteers contributed a total of 85 hours in July. That's a monetary value of $2,161.55, according to Independent Sector, which puts a monetary value on volunteer time. Currently, 1 volunteer hour is valued at $25.43.
Wow.
And then she gave me a link to the valuation of volunteers. Those 85 hours were contributed by 11 volunteers. 2 of these volunteers were new in July. Volunteers helped with summer reading program registration and awarding, assisting in the junior coding program, program prep, 4th of July parade prep, button making, and assisting Sue with technical services. So she says, yay, volunteers.
Yes, she should.
As she should, yeah, she's very
Well paid.
Yep, yep. I also have a note from Tracy, and she wanted to highlight the fact that the Youth Services Department just wrapped up their first collaboration with the Orion Township Public Library's Youth Services Department in a series of outdoor story times entitled Neighborhoods of Stories. The heads of both Youth Services Departments arranged with local parks and rec departments to use local beaches and parks for weekly story time, conducted by Tracy, who is our head of Youth Services, Ashley Lehman, who is Orion's head of Youth Services, Tina Rosso, who is one of our Youth Services librarians, and James Pugh, who is a library assistant over at Orion, who used to also work here, so we lost him to Orion. They have been at the Clarkston Community Garden, the Children's Park in Lake Orion, Deer Lake Beach in Clarkston, Friendship Park in Lake Orion, Baycourt Park in Clarkston, and Camp Agawam in Orion Township. These story times were regularly attended by an average of 50 people, including patrons from both participating libraries, as well as some other local libraries. And the Youth Services Departments of both libraries plan on doing this series of programs again next summer, hopefully exploring some other local parks.
Great.
Very excited.
Nice collaboration.
Yeah, very nice.
Any other comments on statistics?
No,
They're there for us
that was
to-
my exciting report.
And both of those were very, very good because it,
They talked about numbers and
right,
whatever, but
right,
had
so
a
it
little
is
bit more of a story.
statistics, but it's,
Yeah.
it's nice to hear what's happening out there and, you know, that.
And it's out there. So
It
it's
is
nice
out
that the
there.
weather participated and hopefully everyone could hear.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And it's kind of nice to do that as a collaboration because then you're really reaching more people,
Yeah.
so.
Well, they were able to do some story times that were in the form of skits because they had multiple people and,
Right,
Yeah.
which would be difficult to do with just your own staff, so
Yeah.
that's.
yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is, that's pretty cool.
Excellent. In that case, let's move on to the library director's report.
Okay, so under general information, we are thrilled to share the news that the Clarkston Independence District Library won the Vote for the Best competition for 2019 in the library category. This is the first year this competition has included libraries, so it is especially exciting for us. We would like to thank the person who nominated us. We're not sure who that is, so thank you anyway, whoever you are out there. Elena Jones, our teen librarian, discovered we'd made the nomination list. Trevor Wynn, our business and marketing librarian, and Adrian Palumbo, our community relations volunteer coordinator, started sharing the news about our nomination in the building and via social media, and it grew from there. Thank you to everyone who voted for us. To show our appreciation, the Friends of the Library are helping us to host a reception on Wednesday, August 21st from 4 to 6.
As just a little side note of this, as I was walking in here, someone was at the front desk asking about the signs and
Yeah,
thought it was
sure.
really cool that they weren't here at the library that was the #1 library in Metro Detroit.
We
so.
have a huge banner going up on the wall outside, on the other side of this wall. Plus, we got a nice plaque, so we're going to unveil that at the reception. So we're very excited about this.
That's a great thing to say when you're
And
out
you need
and about
to-
too.
people should
Did you
register.
know that our library?
We would like for people to register for the event, so we have an idea of how many people to come, to make sure we have enough goodies for everyone.
And there are openings, because I registered today.
We are very excited. Very excited. Next item, this year we set a goal to register 1,000 people for our summer reading program. We reached our goal during the third week of July. The purpose of this program is to keep people reading, people of all ages reading during the summer months. This is especially important for kids and teens because research shows that this type of program helps to prevent summer slide, in which valuable skills can erode during summer vacation. So we feel like our program has been very successful. We just had our finale on Saturday. Very well attended. Tracy will have more statistics about the whole summer for you next month. Next item, once again, I will be part of the Michigan Library Association's Executive Summit Planning Committee. This is a conference designed for library directors and boards. The conference is held at the end of May. The topic for the upcoming year will be a focus on building a strong, positive organizational culture. So I'm looking forward to working on that. I've also been part of the Library of Michigan's Review Committee for Library Services and Technology Act, known as LSTA grant proposals. I was assigned to the mid-sized grant review team consisting of applications for projects up to $25,000. The Library of Michigan received 18 proposals in this category. Review training occurred in late spring. Project reviews took place in June, and the final recommendation meeting was held in mid-July in Lansing. The state librarian will be announcing the winning projects in the next few weeks, and we anticipate approximately $125,000 in grants. So we're thinking about 5 or 6 projects will be awarded in this category based on our team's recommendations. Thanks. That was a nice project. It was
Yeah, it
fun.
must have been fun.
It was very fun. There were some really interesting things. It was hard to decide. It was hard to weed them out. There were a lot of really worthy projects on the list. Next item, we have received both of our state aid payments for this year. In June, we received a check, an e-check for $14,114.58, and then in July, we received $14,390.06. Last year, our payments were $12,944.36 and $13,134.82, so up a little bit from last year, which is nice. We've also received this year's penal fine payment of $75,000, $75,960.02. Last year, we received a payment of $74,367.12. So we are up again. It has been as low as 40,000 back on the bottom of the economy, so these numbers have been creeping up a little bit each year. Penal fines is the money that is a small percentage of traffic tickets and court costs. So we get a little piece of that every year or from the county, so based on per capita. In terms of project updates, the fire marshal inspected the fire suppression repairs and upgrades last week and is satisfied with the work that was done. So hallelujah, I think we're going to put that one to bed at least for a little while. It's been quite a process since January. And then last item, while the building of the library shed was essentially completed by the end of the school year, we did need to wait to have the company come out and make some adjustments to the door. That happened last week as well. Arlene Weber, our lead custodian, has been working on a plan for organizing that space. She and I worked together on a budget for the final finishing work and the things that she'll need for inside, which is on tonight's meeting agenda. So we're getting to the point where we may be able to put that project to bed too.
What did we do in terms of like thanking the school and the students for?
So in terms of the thank you, because they literally finished it the last week of school. We had hoped to have a little party for them. That didn't really work out. But the Friends of the Library funded those hoodies for them that had their logo on the front and all their names on the back. And each student and each instructor got one of those. And then on the side of the building, we have a really nice sign that has all of the students' names on it that actually worked on the project.
All right.
So
Just, you know, I mean, I know that it was kind of all finished. At the
it was,
last
yeah, it was
minute,
a little bit of a mad dash there at the end. So they
Because we
actually,
really, I mean, I know that we did them a favor too, but we did kind of
absolutely.
make out pretty well in this, I think. It's a nice looking
Absolutely
shed.
did. And there may still be a plan to do a little something after the school year starts again, because all of the students who were in the program, none of them were seniors. So
Okay.
none of them graduated, they're all coming back.
Okay.
But they may be a runaway train for them next year as well, so who knows, we'll see. But they each got a sweatshirt in the mail with a thank you card handwritten by us.
All right, well, that's good. Thank you.
And I believe the supervisor wore his to a board meeting.
Yes, the instructor wore his to a school board meeting when he did an update on the program, so.
Oh, good, so then,
So those have been out in the
so that's out
community.
there that we collaborated on that
Yeah.
too, that's good. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay,
Andy.
thank you. All right, on to regular business. Our first item is the audit presentation for 2018. Julie, would you like to introduce?
Certainly. This is Neil Hammerbacher from Gabridge and Company. He was actually our field auditor, so he worked directly with us.
I thought he looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. We had a really good experience working with him, so I'm looking forward to hearing his report.
So this was an audit for the year ended December 31st, 2018. I'll make 4 or 5 comments and then I'll open it up for questions. Everyone has a copy of the audit in front of them. If you go to page 1, this financial statement is roughly 35 pages long. The financial statements themselves are management's responsibility. We put them together as a non-audit service, but management has to take ownership of them. Our responsibility is to give an opinion on the fairness. And we do that at the bottom of page 1, the opinion paragraph. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the library as of December 31st, 2018. So this is an unmodified opinion, and if there was something wrong with it, we would have to modify it. So in layman's terms, it's a clean opinion. So you are to be commended for that. Page 4, there are some financial highlights. And I want to look at the third bullet. At the end of the current fiscal year, the unassigned fund balance of the general fund was $1,499,000, or 82.5% of the general fund's expenditures. So you take your unassigned fund balance divided by expenditures, you get this ratio. The state of Michigan thinks you have a problem if that ratio is 13% or less. So you're in good shape there. So that's nice to know.
Glad to hear that.
One of the things that Neil and I talked about was having the board do a resolution to designate what that additional fund balance is for, because he knows that we were talking about building updates and renovations. So,
Right.
I'll work with our attorney to create a resolution for that.
Page 11 and 12, I mentioned that this report is roughly 35 pages. So in my opinion, 11 and 12 are the two most important pages. Page 11 is the statement of net position. So this is a point in time, December 31st, 2018. Shows total assets of $5,310,000, total liabilities of $35,000, and net position of $3,320,000. Of that net position, your investment in capital assets was $1,768,000, and unrestricted was $1,551,000. So those are the resources at the board's disposal where you determine the priorities and how you would spend those things. So at December 31st, you can look at that number. Page 12, it's called the Statement of Activities. It shows your expenses for the year, your program revenues, and then the general purpose revenues. If you look at the third line from the bottom, it's labeled change in net position. It's a positive $264,000. So if someone asks you, are you better off, are you worse off, or are you about the same compared to the prior year, you can say for this year you were better off to the tune of $264,000. So it's good to know that and answer that question. Page 29. Governments in the state of Michigan have to prepare a budget. It's a legal responsibility. You're not supposed to overspend this budget. And if you look at that report, you see no, for the expenditures grouping, no brackets around the right-hand column. So that means you live within your budget. So you are to be commended for that. And then right after that is a short report. We call this our 114 letter. And this basically tells you what our responsibility and what we have to communicate to the governing body. So I invite you to read through that. On page 2, I just want to go through on difficulties encountered in performing the audit. We encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with managing and performing and completing our audit. So I got excellent cooperation from Julie, and what's your?
Erica and Debbie.
Erica, and then your paid accountant?
Sharon.
Sharon, okay.
Yeah.
We just had one adjustment, and that dealt with voided checks, so we had to add back some cash. So if you're looking at your reports on an interim basis, you know you're getting good information, so that's nice to know. We are required to send these reports to Treasury 6 months after your year end, so these reports got to Treasury by June 30th. We don't think Treasury even looks at them.
Not even at that, like, one number to see if we're in trouble or anything?
No, what they rely on is something that we have to prepare for the audit. It's called an auditing procedures report, and they ask us 20 questions or so how the audit went. And we were able to answer all positive things. So that's why you didn't hear from Treasury, and we just go on our merry ways.
So that's what they look at.
That's what they look at. That's what they respond to. So it's electronic, and if we point something out, Julie probably would have gotten a letter within 2 business days. They are that fast on these things now. So they ask us, our bank recs being performed timely and monthly. Did you see any illegal expenditures? To your best of your knowledge, are you following the laws of the state of Michigan? So we answered all positive things in those. So anyways, but important to point that out. So that's it. Any questions?
I just have one.
Okay.
I know quite often in an audit report, you will make recommendations of procedural changes we might want to make to tighten things up even more. Have we made all of those changes to the point where we're?
Well, I think, you know, when you communicate, especially in this document, your fund balance, you can better communicate what the board's intentions are.
Okay.
So
All right.
if you're looking at committing a portion of your fund balance, you can do that by a resolution. You are so firm in your belief that you want to do this, by resolution, you are committing a portion of your fund balance.
Okay.
You can assign a portion of your fund balance, and management can do that. It doesn't require the board. And those can change. Sometimes if you get a grant and you recognize it as revenue, you have an outside party who's placing restrictions on there, so your fund balance can be restricted. And let's say you have prepaid expenses, a part of it can be non-spendable. And that you have an asset that it's not cash and you can't spend it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, you're very welcome.
We appreciate your thoroughness.
Yes, and I've listened to a lot of audit reports through the years. Good job of making it, I think, clear and understandable.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I will accept a motion to approve the library audit as presented.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the library audit as presented. If there are any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you
evening.
for working with us.
You're very welcome.
Sorry.
It's good.
Very good.
With traffic, it's always a challenge.
I know traffic was the worst in town. That's where we...
Dan can cooperate that. All right, let's move to item number 2. The review of our second quarter financials and improvement of budget adjustments.
Okay. So we have our second quarter financial report that came from the accountant. And everything is actually in pretty good shape except for 931, which is our building and grounds line. So you had at your place a little spreadsheet that looks like this?
Yes.
There. So Arlene and I did an assessment. We are basically at budget in 931. So we printed out the report of everything that we had expended money on. And we had a pretty good idea what was going on, but we did a report and we made an analysis of the costs. It really has a lot to do with repairs and expenses that need to be adjusted. So there are a couple things on here that that were approved by the board that didn't get written into the budget in September, and then some of them are just emergency. We'll go through them one by one and give you an idea of what they are. So the first one, Allied Building Services. We did some lighting corrections up at Circulation. We've been struggling with the overly bright LED lighting at Circulation. We've had complaints from both patrons and staff. We've had a couple staff members suffering from migraines. It has been very difficult for them. And we were really struggling to come up with a way to solve this problem. We were able to finally find an electrician at Allied who was able to assist us with that. He cleverly put in a dimmer switch. I don't know why nobody thought of this. You know, we talked to lighting consultants, we tried different kinds of bulbs, we tried everything. But it was an unexpected expense. So that's item number 1 at $1,990. The next one, just want to remind everybody that our building is from 1992. So we're talking about equipment in our building that's 27-ish years old. We really struggled with with one of the toilets in the lobby restrooms, and they were having a really hard time getting that to stop leaking, and it took more than one repair to get that. So that was an unexpected repair. We had some concrete repairs. When we did the 3-phase parking lot replacement, we did the stairway. We only did that island in the middle, sort of around the edges, and we did the ramp. We didn't do the stairs because they were actually in pretty good shape, but over the course of the past few years, they've started to deteriorate. So we did some stair repairs at the end of this winter. They were no longer acceptable the way they were. So we did $3,200 worth of concrete work there. We also replaced, we have very unusual commercial spigots. They are a specialty item. I don't know why they put those in our building, but we blew one of those on the north side of the building, so we replaced that to the tune of $1,000. we got that done, unexpected.
Are these
Um,
supposed to last longer or
they-
be more heavy duty?
I
or-
don't know, but the problem is because they are embedded in the wall, you gotta stick with what's already there, or it costs you even more to replace it.
I was going to ask that question.
Yeah, because it's embedded in the wall. It's actually a spigot that we don't, you know how at home you turn them off inside?
Yeah.
We don't have to do that because it's got an extension inside of it that when you turn off the water from outside, it pushes the water out and it actually turns it off inside the building about 18 inches or so. So it keeps it from freezing, but it's a specialty spigot.
Without somebody
There's the
having to
answer.
go and.
Right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the deal on that. So that's why that one was,
Because if that backed up, that would be a problem.
it would be a huge problem.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be a huge problem. But because it's a specialty item, it is very expensive, and you have to get a commercial plumber to come in and do it. It's not a standard thing. So here's the big ticket item, and this one you all know about. The Fire Systems of Michigan, the fire suppression repairs, and the upgrades that were required by the fire marshal. Multiple necessary unexpected repairs and a number of upgrades to the tune of $12,724. This does not include the compressor, which was over $4,000 that you approved earlier. We did a budget adjustment specifically for the compressor. This is just the repairs, the special drain that the fire marshal wanted, and the changes in the mechanical room that assisted with the pitch and the drainage. Because you'll remember when we had the issue that set off the alarm system and evacuated the building, when it armed, the system armed, and when it went to drain, it wasn't draining properly because of the pitch of the pipes. So he had them work on some of that as well. This does not mean that we are free and clear. I want to make this abundantly clear. This is a 27-year-old system. I had talked to them about the possibility of a complete overhaul. They are not interested, none of these companies are interested in doing an overhaul. They would rather fix as you go, because to do that kind of an overhaul in a building this size would shut us down for a significant period of time. They'd have to take it out of the ceiling tiles. Every place where we have a spigot or a sprinkler in the ceiling is pipe. So you're talking about a massive, massive project. So unfortunately, this is the way they get fixed, is one pipe at a time. So it is something that Arlena and I are talking about at length, what we budget in to be better prepared. Because we had done small repairs over the course of the last several years, but this was the first time that we got nailed with major pipelines that blew all at the same time. One of the things that happened when we replaced the compressor was that it completely pressurized the system to the point where we blew some additional leaks. We think now that because the system has been fully pressurized for 4 or 5 months, that we're probably in relatively good shape. We're still going to spring leaks from time to time, but we think we've gotten the big ones.
Winter will tell.
Well, shortly
Well, right,
after
but the solution of just attempting to budget a best guess of what might happen so that we don't
Yeah.
get hit with the
Yep,
A big
$12,000 surprise, because that's kind of a big
it is huge.
a big
It is
surprise.
huge. We had no idea that one was coming.
No, I'm
so.
sure.
Okay. The next one, this one has more to do with the timing of budgeting. So when we write the budget, we usually write it in August. You approve it in September. And we budgeted anticipating that Independence Township was going to be our lawn mowing service. In August of last year, they told us they couldn't finish the year because they were shorthanded. So we brought in somebody else to finish out the end of last season and the end of 2018. But it sounded like from my conversations with the person at DPW that they were probably going to do it again this year. Well, we found out in February of 2019 that they were not going to do that. So as you know, we bid it out. We were budgeted for Independence Township, which was charging us a very, very low rate to mow the lawn. The contract that we signed, we estimated out to be about $8,000, which is about $6,000 more than what we had budgeted when we were working with Independence Township.
So we saved a lot of money for those years when
For
the
several
township
years.
was doing it. And
Yep.
And thank you to the township.
And thank you to
Right.
the township for doing that and for taking great care of us. But now we're paying what the real going rate is.
Because I do believe that from looking at when those bids came in,
Yep.
that he was competitive. It's not
It was
like,
competitive. It was the low bid. We
Yeah,
did take
so.
the lowest bid. So, but we're $6,000 under budget
Yeah.
for that. And then the cleaning guide, this is another one of those. Last year, Arlene came to the board and asked for permission to add a floor maintenance program in, which we budgeted for the rest of 2018. But when we approved this, it was, I don't know, October or November. We had already written the 2019 budget. So this item wasn't actually budgeted in for 2019. And you'll remember I said, well, let's wait until we get into 2019 and see how we're doing. Yeah, we're really struggling with the building maintenance. So I was sort of hoping maybe we would be low on repairs this year and we would just be able to absorb this cost, but the $12,000 worth of fire suppression has made it abundantly clear that's not going to happen.
Okay.
And then the last one that's on here is the tree barber. We have him come in once a year and groom up all the trees. He's very gentle with our trees, which we really love, but we've had a couple of wet seasons in a row, and where we are struggling at this point are some of the larger trees. The pine trees, you'll notice, that are on the southeast side of the parking lot are growing into the parking spaces. He's going to lift up all of those branches so that cars can park there. It wasn't as big a deal a few years ago, but we've become so busy now. There are multiple times throughout that we
Saturday.
every single parking space.
Well, and that is just a really wonderful problem.
It is a
have.
wonderful
Yes.
problem to have.
We like that.
The nice thing is that we do have him in every year, and he is very thoughtful in what he does, and he'll look at something and say, you know what, that can wait till next year. Let's do the things that are really necessary this
So he
year.
rotates.
He rotates it through. Yeah, there are a few things that he's like, you know what, you really need to do these pine trees, let's do these, and I've got some other things that can wait till next year, we'll take care of those next year. So he's got kind of a running list. But we do have some major things that need to be done in terms of trees. The katsuras that are at the front entrance are growing into the building, and we need to bring those in again, make it a little more columnar. Those trees are incredibly happy there. We actually...
So they grow well, don't
They
they?
do. An arborist selected them and said these would be perfect for this space, but they are so happy there, we've actually been putting growth inhibitor on them, and they're still growing really fast.
Wow.
They're only supposed to get...
could even do that.
They're only supposed to get, I know, there's a special, sometimes you fertilize a tree, sometimes you slow them down. Apparently it's something they do with a lot of municipal trees, is they put something on them to slow them down, so we've been doing that. But they're both very happy, which is also a nice problem to have.
Yeah,
But
but
they're
they get a lot
close.
of extra water when they push all the snow over there.
Yeah, well, we purposely, we had an arborist select those trees, and he purposely picked something knowing that all that water runs off the roof and creates sort of a waterfall into that area. So he purposely picked something. He's like, they're not supposed to get more than about 20 feet. Well, these trees are just, they're very happy.
Very healthy.
They're very healthy. They are very healthy. So anyway, I do need him to kind of lift them up and then shape them in around. And he has to bring a lift truck to do that, which is both the pine trees and the katsuras. We don't usually have him do a lift truck. He usually comes in and does, ladders and snippings and whatever. Okay, so the total for the amounts, everything that we anticipated, everything we didn't anticipate, I should say, $36,236, which interestingly totals about half of the budget. So if we did not have all of these expenditures in there, we had estimated, but all of these are
We'd be on mark.
target, yeah. Arlene and I, like I said, have been working to make sure that next year we don't have this problem. We've been doing a lot more analysis. We've been critically thinking about, now that we know the building is what the struggling things are, we know with the fire suppression, we're putting in specific budget for that purpose, so we've got to prepare that. So I am requesting a budget adjustment from fund balance. Fortunately, having talked to the auditor, we do know that we ended last year on a high note, so there's some extra money that went into fund balance last year. So.
They're $264,000.
Yes, and I'm only asking for $36,000. Try and get us balanced back out for the year, so.
Okay, questions? If not, I'll accept a motion.
Okay, I move that we transfer, you want this full amount to 36?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Unless there's anything on there you don't feel is
No,
worthy.
No,
No, they all,
they're all
it's all
necessary.
stuff that we needed to do,
Yeah,
okay,
and
so.
none of it's left.
Okay, I move that we transfer $36,236 from fund balance to the building line item.
931.
931. Thought that was it, but I.
Yep, sorry about that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we transfer $36,236 from fund balance to line item 931 to take care of the surprises that we've had this year in our building. Any comments or questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. We thank you and Arlene for sorting all of this out.
Big job.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a bit of a shock when we got the report and realized the magnitude. We apologize for that. We will do better next year. And the
All
rest of
right,
this year.
let's move to number 3, update on the business center.
Okay. The construction of the new business center and upgrades to the 2 study rooms have been completed as presented. Local businesses, patrons, and staff have been using these spaces for a variety of meetings. Feedback on these spaces has been very positive. In addition, local businesses and the Friends of the Library donated a total of $8,050 toward the completion of this project. The library board budgeted enough money toward the project, so there are now excess funds in the building line. We propose using a portion of that money toward one additional enhancement to the business center and adjacent 2 study rooms. There is some sound that bleeds between these spaces through the HVAC ductwork. After doing research on a variety of ways to manage this problem, we feel that the addition of sound masking white noise machines above the ceilings of these 3 rooms will make them even more user-friendly. We have weighed pros and cons and costs of different solutions, as well as spoken to other libraries who have used this type of solution and feel this is a cost-efficient as well as effective way of dealing with this issue. We recommend the proposal by Library Design Associates for the installation of the Encore sound masking units and the proposal by Allied Building Services for the associated electrical costs. So this is something that, while it was not technically budgeted, the board budgeted it all for the business center, and then we got a lot of generous donations, which means at the end of the year that money would revert back to fund balance, some funds that we haven't used, but we're asking to make one more upgrade to the rooms.
Yes, now that they're in place.
Yep.
And everyone has seen the sound solution, several pages of information about why and how
Can I
and
answer any questions about the units, about the project?
I see Lencor has been involved in quite a few large business applications. So
They've actually used this particular solution. The library that we talked to most extensively was the Canton Public Library. They have an open floor plan in their staff area, their staff work area, and they put it above the ceiling of their staff work area in order to assist in that low rumble of people talking and working. And they've been very pleased with the way that it's worked for them. So that's what led us to believe that this would likely be a good answer for us. We did have the Encore representative come in, brought the units into the room for us, and got them, set them up on the table so that we could at least kind of get a feeling for what that was like. And it does block the sound. Instead of having them on the table, they would be mounted above the ceiling so you wouldn't see them.
So it would improve the acoustics of those rooms
Yep.
and cause them so that business meetings won't hear students studying next door.
Yes.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. We also looked at several other solutions, including things like acoustical tiles and some of those other sorts of things. This is actually more cost effective in terms of price. That was going to be a lot more expensive.
And I'm assuming that it's going to sound something like, an air conditioner running in the...
It doesn't really sound like anything. It's incredibly difficult to describe. We had our conversation, the beginning of our conversation, the introduction of the conversation, what is it, how much is it, whatever. About halfway through, he turned it on, we continued to have a conversation. None of us really noticed a difference. It's almost like you don't really hear it. It's not a hum, it's not like static,
They call it white noise, but it's not really white noise.
It's very hard to describe, but it did make a big difference. When it was on, you didn't hear what was going on outside of it, because of course it's a glass room. The business center is the one that we're the most concerned about. It's a glass room, and you do hear what's going through the glass and that kind of thing. And as soon as they turned it on, I don't know if it basically it creates enough background noise that you don't notice it, I guess is the way
Right.
it works. It doesn't
And
really,
you don't really hear all the
It-
conversation in the checkout area.
it doesn't drown it out. It's at a wavelength that prevents the sounds that would be distracting to you from really reaching your ears. It's essential. It's fascinating the way it works.
Sounds great.
Technology at work.
Yep. So what this proposal will do is put 2 above the business center because of the size of the room, and then 1 above each study room. We've actually been trying for several years to come up with ways to, because the noise travels through the ductwork in the 2 study rooms, we've had people mention to us that if you have, especially if it's a tutor and a student, and they get excited about what they're working on, it sort of travels through the ductwork. And we've struggled with different ways to do it. We actually had the facilities company one point come in thinking that we needed more insulation. It wasn't the insulation. We talked about, something in the ceiling, and then we finally deduced that it was the ductwork. So short of having the HVAC company come in and reroute all the ductwork, because basically it goes from one room to the next, we would have to reroute it so that it would go to the 2 rooms separately. I did price that out at one point.
Yeah, that sounds very
And that was
expensive.
outrageously expensive.
Yeah.
That was off the table in no time. So,
Yeah, and no, you wouldn't even want to have to do that because it doesn't make the HVAC any more efficient.
No,
If
it does
anything,
not.
it makes it less efficient.
Yeah.
If it's sending out air here and then sending out air here, so.
So what is the total amount of this improvement?
okay, so there are 2 proposals in here. Right, let me flip through the pages here. Make sure I have these all in here.
So we have the $1,987.
The 1987 is for the units and the installation of the units. We have to have electrical wired up in there because, of course, there are no plugs in our ceilings. And so Allied gave us,
So that's another almost.
yeah, that's
$997.
$997.
So that is still going to leave extra money based on.
There's still,
what was
yes.
Donated
Yep.
anyway, so.
Yes.
So we're not moving money from one line item?
Nope, you're just giving us permission to use money that's sitting there, because because we funded something in a different way, we don't really have permission to say, you gave us a budget, but you gave us a budget based on a proposal that we originally
Right.
gave to you. And then Trevor was able to raise money from the local businesses to the tune of $8,050. So there's $8,050 that's
Still in there.
still in there that we did not need, but it's not okay for us to just spend that money without letting you know. So we're coming to you and saying, we would like to buy one more thing to the tune of, the $997 for the electrical and the $1987 for
And it's for these
Yep.
rooms that
Yeah.
that we-
Right,
Yep.
right,
As
it's just that it
proposed
wasn't
for.
part of the original plan because it, again,
Didn't think of it. really.
Well,
because
we-
you didn't, until you had the
Until
room,
you
you didn't
knew.
even really know you were
We
going to have
talked about it in the
position.
beginning, and we decided that the smartest thing to do was to put the rooms in first and see how bad the problem really was before we decided to spend a bunch of money fixing it. We knew that the study rooms were always a problem. We thought, well, let's see what really happens, and then we can have a real conversation, because if we put in a glass room and it also is a situation, then we can try to solve it all at once, and that's what we decided was the most cost-effective way to do it.
All right,
Okay?
so we've got an addition for this. Or we can make it as 2 motions.
I have 2 motions as a recommendation, approving the lawn core sound masking units as presented, and then also the proposal from Allied Building as presented, and we would spend that out of the 975 building line. The money's already there, so you were just asking for permission to do it.
Okay, I'll accept a motion for the sound masking units.
I move to approve the proposal submitted by the Library Design Associates, the Lencore sound masking units as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the proposal submitted by Library Design Associates for the Lencore sound masking units, which is $1,987 as presented. Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion is passed. Now I'll accept a motion to approve the proposal for electrical work.
I move to approve the proposal submitted by Allied Building Services for the associated electrical work as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the proposal submitted by the Allied Building Services for the associated electrical work in the total of $997 as presented. Any comments or questions about that? Allied has been busy with our electrical work.
They have been, they have a great electrician, and so.
We've benefited.
We have benefited from that, yeah.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay.
I did tell them if they didn't keep sending me this great electrician, that I was going somewhere else. Because he's really good.
Okay, number 4.
Okay,
Review and approval of proposal for teen computer chairs.
okay. This one is from our IT manager and myself. Data has shown that the use of the computers in the library has been decreasing while use of the library's wireless access has been increasing at a similar or even greater rate each month. To accommodate this shift, in 2017, we added powered tables in the adult seating area. In addition, the library started offering laptops that can be checked out from circulation and used anywhere in the building. This gives our patrons who do not bring their own device the freedom to choose where they wish to sit. At the same time, we are transitioning the current adult computer lab into much-needed meeting space. In order to facilitate this shift, we need to encourage users who still prefer a traditional desktop computer over a laptop to work at stations outside that room, in this case, the teen computers. Unfortunately, the teen computer stations have simple stools as seating. In order to make these stations more appealing to a variety of users, we need to offer the same type of comfortable seating as the current lab. We have tested this by moving some of the chairs from the computer lab to these workstations, and usage increased in that area. So we were not incorrect in our assessment. Unfortunately, now we are short chairs in the lab. Now they really like those chairs. So we are proposing purchasing the same seating that we have in the lab for the teen computer stations. We do anticipate that we may not have a need for those teen workstations at some point as patrons continue to move toward laptops and other devices. So then what would we do with these chairs? The current computer lab is fire rated to seat 20, but currently has 14 chairs. If when the teen stations are no longer needed, we would move these additional chairs into the lab, thus creating seating for 20. Library Design Associates is the vendor that supplied the chairs for the lab. They have provided a proposal for additional chairs. Unfortunately, the fabric on the computer lab chairs has been discontinued, but the designer at Library Design Associates will assist us in selecting a fabric that will coordinate and allow both groupings of chairs to be used together in the same space. So in this case, this is not a budgeted project. However, as you know, when we write the budget, we have that undesignated revenue at the bottom of the budget. Money that sort of hangs out there until we determine what projects to use it on. There is a balance of $6,082 remaining in undesignated revenue, and we're requesting a budget adjustment of $2,800 from undesignated revenue to line 975. So we're not tapping into fund balance, we're just moving that money out of that undesignated revenue and actually giving it a signed project until the end of the year.
Okay. I'll accept a motion.
I have one comment before.
Yes.
It's actually kind of a good thing because you bought the chairs at different times and then they don't match, then as 2 or 3 of them wear out, now they didn't match anyway, so we don't have to like buy all new chairs or get everything recovered to keep it matching. So
And they're complementary.
Stylistically, they will be identical chairs. The only thing that will be different, the backing will be the same, the faces will be the same, the wheels, everything. The seat cover will be slightly different, but she's going to select something. And she's the one who, when we did our space planning, selected the carpet and the paint colors, and so she knows our building really well. She selected the chairs for the computer lab. She selected the ones for the business center. So she's really good at coordinating things.
But then if we need to replace because 3 got ruined somehow, again, well, if they don't match exactly, it doesn't matter because they already don't all match exactly, but they look nice together.
Yes. So it's not a matchy-matchy thing, it's a coordinated.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, that works.
Yep, indeed.
Okay. All right, well, in that case, I would move to approve a budget adjustment of $3,150. Oh, no, I'm on the wrong page. How much is this one?
We'd like you to approve the proposal first, and then if you can.
But this page that I'm on has to do with the shed, so where did the...
Back up just a little bit.
How did I do that? Oh, I see what happened here, because I skipped right, it was library design, so I skipped right over it when I did the last one.
Okay.
Okay, then I move that we approve the proposal by Library Design Associates as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve a budget adjustment of $2,800.
No, we're doing the proposal.
We're
We're doing the
just
proposal.
accepting
We're
the
not doing the budget
proposal.
That we
We're not there
accept, let's start over.
Okay.
All right. It's been moved and seconded
To approve the proposal.
that we approve the proposal for additional chairs as presented.
Thank you.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion approved.
Now I'll move that we approve a budget adjustment of $2,800 from undesignated revenue to 975 building.
Second.
Okay, so now it's been moved and seconded that we put the money in to do this. So we'll move $2,800 from undesignated revenue to 975 building in order to accommodate additional chairs. All those, any comments or questions? Finally got this. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
It's just a lesson that some projects are harder than others.
Okay. Now we will
Okay.
move to the shed.
Now we're going to talk about the shed. We're in the home stretch. The work of building the shed was completed by the Clarkston High School construction tech students at the end of the school year. Over the past several weeks, we have been generating a list of specific items to be stored in the shed and assessing how to efficiently organize this new storage space. We will be able to repurpose shelving from the delivery room, but have a number of items that will still be needed to allow us to put the shed to its best use. Item number 1, we would like to install plywood interior walls to cover the studs and nails to be installed with screws to allow easy removal should we decide to add electricity later. 2, finishing details not completed by the students that will prevent wildlife from moving in. We've found a few.
It doesn't take a very big
No, it
space.
does not. We've been lucky so far this summer. But I'm pretty sure that we need to get those closed up for winter. 3, we
Oh,
would
yes,
like
because
to.
it's much nicer to
It
live
is.
inside in the winter if you're wildlife.
Right.
I have a shed at home now. And they
As do I, so.
Yeah. And it doesn't take
It doesn't take very much.
small
No, it
spots.
does not. It does not. And Arlene would appreciate it if skunks and such don't move in, so. We would like to add some lighting. This lighting would be LED lighting, and it would be battery operated, so that it would be flexible and we could move it around. We're not going to electrify the shed, but we would like to add some lighting to it. Number 4, tool racks and other hangers that would allow things to be hung and efficiently up off the floor. We would like a dedicated ladder out in the shed so that we're not hauling the ladder from the building to the shed, building to the shed, to building to the shed. So we will put up hangers and hang the ladder out there. In order to make the shed more efficient in terms of permitting, we needed to keep it under 200 square feet. Otherwise, it was a building project, would require several inspections, would slow down the school's work. So it is 12 by 16, which is 192 square feet. The architect who drew the plan gave us some additional space by building up. So the walls are very tall, and the shelving that we're putting in is also very tall. So we hope that we will be putting some things up high that are very, very light. But that's the need of the ladder. And then item number 6, additional shelf clips in order to be able to use all the available repurposed shelving. We have 4 sets of frames, we have 21 shelves, we have 66 shelf clips. But I was able to go on, and because they are Burroughs shelves, which is a Michigan-based company that is still in business, we can buy additional clips so that I can utilize all 21 shelves that we have. So the requested budget to complete all of this would be $3,150. This is not budgeted. However, there is, as I talked about before, there's a balance of $6,082 remaining in undesignated revenue, which after the computer chairs, which you did indeed approve, there is still $3,282. So we are requesting a budget adjustment of $3,150 from undesignated revenue until 9975 building in order to wrap up the inside of this shed and make it a great space.
Now, how soon do we anticipate this could be completed? I mean, someone has to put up this plywood and,
This includes Ally doing that for us.
Okay.
So this includes having our facility, our regular facilities man do this work. This budget would cover all of that. And
you think they can have it done before the fall book sale, which is the end of September?
Probably. They were chomping at the bit. He sent me I got an email from,
Because of a lot of storage things have been going in that closet,
Yep.
right over there, and that's been a big issue for the book sale. So if it's completed by the time the
So
book
the-
sale's here,
So here's the choreography that Arlene and I have talked about. The shelving that we want to use out in the shed is actually those metal frames that are behind the book sale books right now.
right,
So the first thing we have to do is get the book sale books moved in here.
yes.
Then one of our custodians is going to take down those frames, move them out into the shed. So that's one piece that has to wait until the book sale.
Okay.
But our intention would be to have those walls up because we want to put those shelves out there during the book sale.
Okay.
Now, some of the other pieces, like the racks and things like that, we probably won't do until we have the shelves up first, because we potentially may want to bolt the shelves to the wall. We want to make sure they're where we want them to be, that kind of thing. So the shelving is that first, walls and then shelving.
So that may not, due to the fact that we have to move all of those books
If it goes
first.
well, though, when the book sale is being broken down, we may be able to move some of the things that are in the closet out to the shed as opposed to just putting them back in the closet. Ideally, I think that's what Arlene has in her mind.
That's the
But
goal.
we're not gonna make any promises, because you know how that goes.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think it sounds very well thought out.
We have a plan, though. We do have a plan, and I'm really proud of the way that she's worked hard on laying this out and figuring out the best way to use that space. I've been telling the staff, she is the gatekeeper of the shed. And when I hand her the keys to the shed, one of them goes on her key ring, the other one goes on the rack in the admin office so that people could go in there and get things out. But I've been telling the staff, if anything appears in that shed and Arlene doesn't know what it is, she has my permission to throw it out without question. So nothing just sneaks out into the shed without Arlene saying it's okay, so.
Well, right, because the point is not to just shift
Yep.
things that we don't need into where it's
Maximize-
out of sight and out of mind.
Exactly.
I mean, the
Maximize
whole
our-
thing was a plan to make the
Yes.
existing storage area more efficient
Yep.
and to have efficient storage.
Absolutely.
The criteria being what is safe in an unheated building as opposed to having to be in a heated building.
And she has a great list of items that she's identified that can go out there and things that can't. And she caught a few things that I said, well, what about this? And she's like, nope, we can't put that out there because if a mouse gets in, it's gone. Oh, good point, I hadn't thought of that. So she's got it in her head. She knows exactly what needs to go out there, what can and can't go out there.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Especially after we mouse
Very
proofed
aware
it.
of
Yeah, yeah. The goal is to mouse proof it. We all know those little buggers get in there.
Oh, right.
They get in here, so
Right.
we know they're going to get in there, but we're going to try to prevent it to the best of our ability, so.
All right, I'll approve a motion.
Wait, I have a question.
Okay.
If there's no electricity, how will it be lighted?
The lighting is actually battery operated. So what we're doing is, Arlene is pricing out battery operated LED like lantern or a fixable. Basically, it's essentially intended to be wireless lighting for places like this, where you don't intend to electrify.
I have no objection to that as long as it's safe, as long as the safety is.
Yep. So the LED lighting is not hot. It doesn't get hot. And it's also very, very low electrical. So it doesn't take a lot of power to run it. So the batteries won't run
It
through.
will light up the whole place.
And it will light up the whole
Make it
place.
safe for entry in
Yep.
the wintertime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that we did was we installed double doors. So you can open both sets of doors, which let in a lot of natural light. Now, we did not put in any gabling or anything along those lines to ensure that we minimize windows or anything like that to minimize access to discourage vandals and to prevent the possibility of our little furry friends getting in, so. Yeah.
But with double doors open and some,
Yep.
that LED lighting can be pretty,
It's incredibly bright, as we found in other parts of the building.
yes.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, I'll accept a motion.
I move that we approve a budget adjustment of $3,150 from undesignated revenue to line 975 building for shed interior finishing.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve a budget adjustment of $3,150 from undesignated revenue to line 975 building for shed interior finishing. Any other comments or questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. And thank Arlene, too.
She worked very hard
Yes.
on this. She's very excited to have some additional storage space.
As are probably most of the people in the building.
Well, she's the gatekeeper though.
All right. All right, number 6.
Okay. Despite the fact that it is August and warm weather, it is time to talk about bidding out snow plowing contract for the 2019-2020 season. So I have put our snow plowing RFP in here. You'll remember that last year we tried to do a per push and/or a per season bid, and that failed miserably. Contractors are no longer doing per season. That ship has sailed. So
1 or 2 years could do that.
1 or 2 years can do, yeah. Well, it's actually, my understanding is that it has to do with salt. So the conversation that I had with our current contractor is that there is a salt mine in Detroit that had a collapse
Yes.
before the beginning of this season. And then there is also a salt mine in Canada that also had a collapse. And so that has made it very difficult for these contractors to get salt and made the price of salt incredibly high this past year. So, so it's going to be a per push, I'm sure. So we are back to our old RFP that requests a per push. But I'm just bringing you the RFP to take a look at it. As you'll remember from past, we do a primary and secondary per push. So we have them do the parking lot per push and for salting. We have them do the sidewalks per push and for salting. And then we also have them do what I consider to be the secondary sidewalks, which would be the safety path along Clarkston Road and this one that routes around the side of the building. So they do the ones that we need for functioning first. If they would like to wait and do those later on, for example, if school is closed, there's not going to be a lot of high traffic on that particular sidewalk, and so we let them worry about that later in the day if they've got a lot of other plowing to do. And so they price that out separately, because they might do up here a couple times during the day, whereas that one we would only expect them to do it once a day, just to make sure it's clear. So that would be our intention for the bid process again this year.
So we already have a line item for this?
We do, it's in 931. Yep, we do. It's
And
the
that's
same
another
line
thing
that you just made.
You can't know because it depends on the weather.
Yeah. This is the same line item, you just made the big budget adjustment in to repair it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we will be,
Really good, yeah.
we would be good to go.
But the per push does include salting.
We actually do them separately. We call it a per push because it's per time that they do it. But they do per push, meaning plowing, and they also do, I guess we could call it per application for
Okay.
salting. Because there are some times when they don't actually need to plow the snow, they just need to salt the sidewalks. We had several of those late in the season this year where you would get rain during the day, it would freeze at night, and they would come in and they would just salt in the morning. They didn't have to plow anything, and so they price all that out sort of a la carte. So if they just come in and, for example, salt the parking lot, but the sidewalks are in good shape, then they don't salt the sidewalks.
But we are asking them to commit to a salting price,
Yep,
even though
yep.
they can't know at this point.
They do a per, and then.
They're not, because it's going to be hard for them to know what they're going to be paying for salt.
Absolutely.
But
Our current contractor wrote into the contract this year that if there was going to be a significant change, and he identified a percentage, and I don't remember what percentage it was, if the salt price went up more than a certain percentage, that he would contact us and let us know.
so that
So
we would
we
then be
could-
able to pass along.
Yep.
If
So
it-
he would stay within his per push unless something happens, and then he is required to notify us. In his own contract, he said he would notify us.
Okay. All right.
And he did not change that number this year.
Because I know that, I mean,
Yeah.
So really, we are now talking about approving the RFP.
You're just approving the RFP.
Right, I
This is
just
what else
just
does,
was,
yeah.
you know, kind of,
Nope, you're absolutely right, and you're absolutely in the right to ask that. That's a good question.
Do we have a time?
I'll talk to Arlene about the timing of it, but essentially what we would do, what we usually do is we bid it out in September. We have you approve it in October because the contract goes from November 1st through October 31st. So if we get a freak snowstorm in October, our current snowplow contractor would be responsible for it. As of November 1st, it's whoever you approve at the board meeting in October, which could be the current contractor or it could be somebody else. Is that?
Okay, thank you. That clears that up.
okay.
Any other comments or questions? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the RFP for snow plowing for the 2019-2020 season as presented.
I'll second.
Or year, I guess, it would be the year, almost, yeah.
Yep, that season, right.
Okay,
November 1st to October 31st.
okay,
Yeah, it's a year, but we call it season.
yeah.
All
The
right.
bulk of it is going to occur in the.
Well, it's because it doesn't match
So-
up, it doesn't match up with our fiscal year, so.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the RFP for snow plowing for 2019-2020 as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion is carried. Thank you, and I will now accept a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned at 7:10.